Hey everybody, this is Michael back again. Uh, today's question is the cost of freedom. What is it? And it's always an interesting debate or subject to hear because everyone kind of has different definitions of freedom. It seems the freedom to be able to do anything you want without repercussions, the freedom to be able to do anything or say whatever, wear whatever you want without having someone say anything. But these are all different, varying arguments of freedom I've heard, which is all good. I believe that they're all encapsulated in the idea or core of freedom. But I mean, what is the cost of freedom? Like, and what does that actually look like? Because we say freedom, and that was kind of used as a patriotic means for a while. But like, oh, the cost of freedom is blood, and I heard that for a while. And yes, that is also something I would definitely agree and put into what is the cost of freedom. Um, but I think it all kind of boils down, like if we're trying to truncate the answer, if we're trying to make it simple, tangible for us to say, hey, what is the cost of freedom? I have to say it's discipline. And that's because you can't, I mean, you can't be free without being educated. And like Ben Franklin said, only the educated are free, and the educated are some of the most disciplined people there are. Because if you notice, when what we call like ignorant people, or just dumb, naive, anything like that, um, they're usually not living great lives. Very kind of um, trapped by their own means in some ways, and sometimes we say, oh, it's a society thing, a societal thing. It definitely can be that, but it just, the more ignorant you are, the harder it is for you to live a good life. And by living a good life is what would be the definition of freedom: to freely live how you wish to be, which ideally is all healthy and productive and all that, right? Um, and it also feeds into Isaac Newton's actions and consequences. Everything has an equal and opposite reaction, and that is definitely saying. So in order to be free, you have to be disciplined. And my personal example is my wife came home with this like, oh, it was this like new Ben and Jerry's flavor. I don't know if it's new. It was new to me. It was a new Ben and Jerry's flavor. It was like caramel something or other. And normally I try and be disciplined. Normally I try and show restraint. And instead I ate the whole thing in a single sitting, and I have no regrets. But now I'm going to go to the gym now, because that's the thing. It's like I can choose to have that ice cream, and I did. I chose to have that ice cream, and I chose to eat all of the ice cream. Still no regrets. Then I don't have more. But now I'm making the choice to be disciplined and go to the gym, so that way that ice cream, which I enjoyed thoroughly, doesn't negatively affect me through bad health or whatever. And like, one ice cream is not going to do that. But if I have 5 6 ice creams and I don't go work out, then those 5 or 6 ice creams just accumulate into a negative effect. I mean, and that's why it is, I have the ability of freedom to eat as much ice cream as I want, because I'm a pig. I will not deny that. But then, in order for me to continue to enjoy ice cream as long as I can, and all that stuff, I have to be disciplined enough to be able to work out, have some days where I don't have ice cream or cookies or cakes or anything like that. And which is, it makes it, when I do have ice cream, all that much better, because it's like that treat, and I only treat myself when I feel like I have been disciplined in the way of like, I haven't had ice cream in a while. Let's kill this pint, Yeah, and it was just a pint, but still, oh, it was delicious. But I feel like that's what the cost of freedom really is that it's just being aware of what the cost is, of what your action in this particular moment would be, instead of having such a macro view, because that can be very daunting and very overwhelming. and sometimes hard to conceptualize as an individual of your being and your place and your actions. So just break it down. In this particular moment, I am going to eat ice cream, or I'm going to put on blue lipstick or something and go outside. So, you can have the freedom to do this, and I know that was kind of a weird jump, but it's also the comparison of, like, if I put on blue lipstick and I go outside, I have to understand that there is going to be some kind of reaction, both positive and negative. There's going to be something like somewhat like, especially if I've never worn blue lipstick before, people who've seen me, they're going to be like, hey, are you feeling all right? Are you transitioning? Are you, maybe, or they won't say anything. And you also have to ask yourself, why am I putting on the blue lipstick? Is it for that reaction? And if you're asking for a reaction, you got to remember, you don't control other people's reactions, and anyone has the right to react, judge, say, do whatever they want, and because that is their freedom. And that's what sucks, is that when our freedoms, our perception of freedoms then clash. Like, if you believe that you should be able to wear, blue lipstick and have no one ever comment on it, I mean, you can't do that, because then you are then hinging on someone else's freedom of speech, and or you're limiting if you're saying, I only want comments positive of my blue lipstick, but on that end, I never compliment anyone anymore on anything, just unless I know them well enough that I feel comfortable to be able to compliment them. I just kind of don't say anything about anyone, just don't say anything. And that's my choice, and that's the cost of my freedom of speech, because I feel like I can freely say anything I want about anyone eating ice cream daily and not working out, or working out all the time and never eating ice cream. Both are crazy to me. Like, I work out to eat ice cream. I don't know about these guys who are in the gym and they're shredded. Don't get me wrong, they're shredded. But they don't touch ice cream because they want to stay shredded, which is, to each their own. But eating ice cream and never working out, or working out and never eating ice cream, is just unfathomable to me. But those are the freedoms that they choose, and I respect that. I don't understand that, and this is my own personal quote, you don't have to understand something to accept something. Because that is the freedom of my individual to choose and how I react. I just accept everything. I don't need to react to anything, and that's my freedom of character. But, sorry, that was kind of a rant. So ultimately, I believe that the cost of freedom is discipline. I'm so sorry. I was trying to hold that in. It was a burp. I do apologize. I should maybe edit that out, but you guys can tell I don't do much editing on this channel, because it's just mental vomit, I guess. Mike's Mental Vomit. That could be another name for this channel. Alright. So, alright, everybody. Take it easy. Have a great day. Hope all is well. Yeah.